What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony.
Still here, never left. Beanie Siegel in the house, and so am I.
Yeah, you are. You're here. And we had an all-time combo, an old-school Podioslave special with Marcos Siega tonight. He's worked with your favorite band, right? And he's probably put out some of your favorite TV shows. He's been part of some of your favorite TV shows as well. So to get somebody like Marcos, who was in the moment making music videos and coming up with treatments and shepherding kind of the visual aspect of some of the songs that we grew up, spinning forever, and to have him tell us how that all happened, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, and don't discount what Tony just said. He has worked with all your favorite bands. Pause this episode, go on his Wikipedia, look at he's got like 80 music videos. There's probably more. He's directed a shitload of music videos. I mean, I would say we are into 50 of these bands. Heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can insert a few moments later.
A few moments later.
Oh, welcome back. You visited Marcos' Wikipedia, and you're impressed, right? So we did the whole treatment, right? We came with 5 music videos. Do you want to tell them now?
No, let's let him. You clicked on it, and you're gonna listen to it. You'll find them. But we also interspersed some of the other ones he did too. Like they just came up in conversation. So I bet we talked about 8 to 10 anyway.
Yeah.
But we focused on 5 to ask questions about, and there's some big ones. Some with 1 billion streams, right? So pretty amazing stuff.
Totally amazing. And we'll probably include it in the visual of the episode, some of the videos, so you'll have a preview. But like Tony said, Marcos got his start early on with music video direction, but he's gone on directing TV shows, executive producing Dexter New Blood, Dexter Resurrection. He did some Veronica Mars stuff back in the day, which I was huge into. Like he's done it all. He's got New York hardcore roots. He was in Bad Trip back, I think, in the early 90s, 80s. So he comes from our world and is just, his resume is incredible. Go on his wiki. It's wild. Oh, we forgot you.
Yeah, you, big Netflix show.
You from Netflix. Like I'm obsessed with that show. And that's one that my wife and I both got into. So double bonus. Thanks, Marcos.
I know, right? He's given us so much. So he also gave us about an hour of his time, a little more than that probably. But you'll hear about an hour of it coming up right now. So let's get into that conversation with Marcos Siega.
All right. We're here with Marcos Siega. Marcos, thank you for spending some time with us. We've been looking forward to this one.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
I love it. It's funny. We knew of you from obviously a lot of the standout music videos when we got into music in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then you keep going down this rabbit hole. I'm like, that was Marcos too. That was Marcos too. And it just kept going. And then for anyone that needs the full resume, go on Wikipedia, go online, you can see it all. But I promise you, your favorite music videos were directed by Marcos.
That's a lot to live up to, my friend.
Well, and the TV world too that you've been living in now for quite some time. Just for the record, I liked The Waterfront. My wife and I watched it. That was awesome. So I saw your name pop up. I was like, hey, we reached out to him to come on. I didn't realize he had his hand in that too. And obviously Dexter and you and the new Dexter Resurrection. You've been super busy doing the TV thing now for, 25 years?
Yeah.
But did you start with music videos?
I started with music videos. To give you just a quick kind of history of how that became a thing, I am a New York hardcore kid. Like I grew up in the hardcore scene in the mid 80s in Queens, New York, and we had a really strong sort of representation of what New York hardcore was. It was bands like Token Entry and Raw Deal and Gorilla Biscuits, and these were all my good friends. I was in a hardcore band called Bad Trip. So that was my upbringing, and going to shows at CB's, I started bringing my video camera and just shooting bands. And very early in my youth, I kind of was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to be a filmmaker. It wasn't be a music video director, but I didn't really have any connections or an in. My parents had immigrated to the United States, and I was in a neighborhood in Queens with a bunch of dudes playing in hardcore bands. So my love of film came out of just going to movies, and then being a hardcore kid kind of gave me my work ethic, my like DIY sort of get out there and just make things. And that's how it started, just shooting bands. And then 94, I was hanging out with Walter Schreifels, who was in Gorilla Biscuits and Quicksand. And he was like, I want to make he had written a song for, it was the inception of Civ, the band Civ. And he'd written Can't Wait 1 Minute More. He's like, we should make a music video. I was like, fuck, let's do it. And I went and we made that Can't Wait 1 Minute More music video, and it got them signed to Lava on Atlantic.
To Lava, yeah. Yep.
And that launched my career. Like once I got a taste of, at the time, I mean, I'm making it sound way too easy. It was hard, right?
Yeah.
At the time when I finished the video, I went and took that thing to record labels and dropped it on desks and was like, hey, I want to direct more of these. Who do I talk to at the label? And then when they signed to Atlantic, I didn't get a job at Atlantic. I didn't get an assignment to do a music video. They put that video out as part of the release of the album of Set Your Goals, and it went on MTV, and your name went on it. Like, it said director.
Insane.
And that literally changed my career, my life.
Well, then it went on car commercials, right? Can't wait a minute more.
But that's in the early 2000s.
Right. But the legacy lives on. Yeah.
It does. And they're playing here in New York in a couple of weeks, and I'm going. They're playing with some of my favorite bands, with Orange 9mm and Inside Out. No, Lee, who is it? Into Another.
Oh, that's right. That's stacked. So
Yeah.
Marcos, I am so jealous. Like, we're probably 10, 15 years younger than you, but if you could, if someone said, hey, dude, time travel to any time frame, any location, I'd probably say early 90s New York City. CB's, L'Amour's, like you'd get like, the inception of Quicksand, where we love Quicksand. I mean, you can see the Rev poster here.
Mm-hmm.
It's that like, there's so much lore and like intrigue with the early 90s for hardcore in general, but New York, I mean, come on.
I know. And my neighborhood, dude, so we lived in these row houses in Jackson Heights, and on my street was Anthony Caminali, singer of Gorilla Biscuits, Walter Schreifels, Toby Morse, H2O, lived in fucking Anthony's closet. Like, it was all these guys who were involved some way or another in every band coming out of New York. And it's really kind of all I knew. We at the time, I knew that it felt like as a scene we were important, but there was no internet. So it didn't kind of dawn on me that it extended beyond like playing CBs, playing the Wetlands, playing, clubs out on Long Island for these bands. And then and I was in a band. And once we started to release 7 inches and albums, and they were releasing that, and then they'd go on tour. I don't know if you've seen, like, Anthony Caminali wrote a book about his tour with Youth of Today. If you're a fan of the early 90s hardcore, you should definitely check it out. Like, he was a roadie for Youth Today before he started Gorilla Biscuits. It was just an amazing time to be a part of that world.
And like you said, it kind of gave you your roots and your work ethic. You saw you have to go out and grind and do those things to get noticed, and then you make the music video for Civ. You don't just go from making the music video for Civ to making, as all the ones you make after, some of the big ones, Papa Roach and System of a Down and all that. So how do you get from that first one to making them pretty consistently?
I mean, it's hustle. I dropped out of school prior to Civ, but I dropped out knowing what I wanted to do and just going out and making things. So for all the successes I've had, there were 1,000 little, setbacks or failures or someone saying no. But, I came from a world where we printed our own 7 inches, and we were making zines. And if you have to make t-shirts, you make them. So I kind of always just was a self-starter, self-promoter. And that's what I mean by that work ethic. So Civ gets on TV, name is up there. And I think the easy way is to be like, okay, my name's out there. I'm a director. I just looked at it as like, I want to do it again. How do I do it again? So I would chase people down. I mean, my second video was for an artist in New York named Tracy Bonham. And that just came from, again, knocking on doors at labels and they had no money. So you're making these things for like $2,000-3,000, and at the time, there's no iPhones or digital. I'm shooting on film, and it's expensive to shoot on film and transferring film. So it was just a lot of hustle. I think my first big video, it didn't take that long to get it, but it was again just pursuing, and that was Anthrax. And then they were a big metal band.
Oh yeah.
But when I say big videos, probably only 30 grand, which at the time for me was massive. But in the world of music videos, and the budgets were starting to get big, it wasn't much. But it was the cachet of having done a band that people knew. And then from that, I got Corrosion of Conformity. And then, I mean, I can jump ahead to the big break. The big break came, I met this dude at an art show, and he was a video commissioner. A video commissioner is the person at a record company whose job it is to hire music video directors. They basically work in the marketing department. I don't even know if they still have those today, but that was a position
Probably not.
back in the 90s. And this guy Craig DeLeon worked at MCA, and we were talking about like my roots in like the punk rock hardcore scene. I had a piece at this art show that I had made. So it kind of, the conversation came out of that thing. And he was like, "Oh, I have this pop punk band." And he was like, "I don't know if it's the same thing." He literally had no genre idea.
I bet.
I had a label, but he was like, "I get this post punk, pop punk band. They're really good. They've had some success, and they have a new album coming out. I'll send you the track if you want to write a treatment for it." And it was for What's My Age Again. So I got in advance of that, and I listened to it. I'm like, these guys are good, but they were definitely hoppier than anything I had ever listened to. But I kind of, then I did a little homework on them. And again, it's pre-internet. So when I say homework, I went to a record store, I picked up Damn It. I started, talking to people, reading some zines that had written about them. And I was like, oh, they like to kind of take the piss out of things. And, so I was like, I wrote that treatment of them running around naked. And once that thing hit MTV, that literally changed. I didn't have to go knock on doors anymore.
I bet. Yeah. That was everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
So how much of it in general is the band or the management coming with an idea versus you being like, hey, this is, I think, what fits the song, just in general?
When I started, it was 100% director. There was I can't think of a single time when the band was like, I have an idea. It was always like, you have an idea. How do you, and then the marketing departments were always very involved because they're about to spend, 50, 100 grand on something. And it's going to be how they market the band. So when you pitch the idea, sometimes they'd come to you and say, can you tone it back a little bit? Can you do this? Can you do that? But I was very deliberate because of my sort of hardcore roots and my punk rock ethic. I was like, I'm not changing the idea. Either you do it or you don't do it.
I love this. This gets better the more you talk, Marcos. Yeah, it's one thing as fans, we never really know, right? There was always like behind the MTV do like behind the music video and stuff like that.
I did a couple. I did.
Oh, you did?
Video for All the Small Things. And I did a bunch, and I'm just blanking on them. Papa Roach, we did one for Broken Home. But anyway, like All the Small Things, Mark hated the concept.
Really?
Hated it. As a matter of fact, again, he just put out a book, and there's a chapter in it where he talks about how much he hated the idea.
Oh, shit. Wow. I had no idea. Well, Marcos, that's one of the music videos we wanted to talk to you about if you're up for it. All the Small Things.
Of course.
And like, this is, if we time travel, this was 99, 2000. And Tony and I were talking, I think it was yesterday. We were like, this was in an era where the music video could outkick the song. If you had a banging music video, it could outkick, you got to have tracks too, but it could put it to the next stratosphere. And this is one that definitely did. Like, that music video is all time.
Yeah. And look, I was approaching my career at that time with that in mind. It was like, if I'm going to do something, I'd like it to be noisy. And, as an artist, and it wasn't about like, doing something for commercial success. It was just really, I wanted to be noisy. I want people to kind of notice it. And as pedestrian as it sounds, a parody at the time just felt right to me because we were being bombarded with the same music video pretty much for every boy band, for every pop artist. They were just, the same thing, just tied up in a different bow, right? But when I'm off the success of What's My Age Again, and they asked me to write another treatment, I didn't just get the job. It was like, it doesn't work that way because you have a record company. So they go to other directors. But when they came to me, I was like, shit, I got to do something that, what are kids going to come to school on Monday morning and talk about? Because that kind of happened with the band running around naked, right? People could be like, you see the
For sure.
Absolutely.
Guys? And that idea just came out of the me wanting it to be noisy. And I thought, I'm just going to make fun of every music video that I don't get, that isn't coming to me, that are massive and they're on TRL and they kind of dominate the charts. When I sent it in, label loved it. I pretty sure Tom was all in. I needed someone in the band as an ally because
that makes sense. Yeah.
Travis was kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'll do whatever. And Mark was like, this is so dumb. It's not funny. And there's some pretty good quotes in his book about how brutal he was about the idea. But we somehow convinced him. I was like, look, this is as punk rock as you can get right now where you are. Because you're going to make a music video. So what video are you going to make? Make something that's like, look at the ridiculousness of our industry right now and what it is. And in doing that, they kind of became that.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's a good point.
And then because the next video I did for them, I actually wrote a treatment for the rock show. And then my schedule didn't allow me to do it. And they ended up doing the video with a different director, which was all worked out. But the next video I did for them was
Man Overboard.
Man Overboard, exactly. And it was like, let's just have you playing at a small club. And then the idea of throwing in, that's an example of marketing. That's where the label was like, we got to keep that same irreverent vibe going. And that's where I could start to see that, this really is a business. You can try really hard to kind of have the integrity, but at the end of the day, they're selling a product. And kudos to the bands that are able to kind of keep their integrity. And I've worked with a number of them that I felt just kind of stuck with their guns.
It's amazing that video, the way that video kind of hit, and it was on TRL with those other ridiculous videos. Like, it was the juxtaposition of those two. It was always fun to like get home from school, throw on TRL, you get a 98 Degrees video where they're, in doing push-ups or whatever, and then you get Tom doing them too. It's like, he's just making fun of you and he's higher on the chart than you are. Like, this is amazing.
But that's what I mean. It's not, when I say they became that, it wasn't like a dig on the band.
Right.
It was the machine, right? Because the same fans that are responding to those boy bands are like, oh, look at these cute guys. Check out these guys. They're just doing it in a different way.
And it's at a time that, it's 2025 now, right? So we've got people whose whole persona is being a parody, whether it be online, whether it be in video, on TV, whatever. Back then, there wasn't as much of it. We had some, obviously, that wasn't a brand new concept, but in that moment, it was kind of perfect, where if you did it today, it would be like, what are you doing? So being out in front of it back then.
Yeah, it's the right time. It's timing. It's luck. That's all it is. Lucky. Right place, right time.
Marcos, that's such a power move. Like, it's one thing for you to create like a parody and have it live over here, and it won't get interspersed with what it's parodying, but it lived right in it. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, because I always felt that way. I always felt like that was my, my younger, and at the time already 10 years younger hardcore kid being like, fuck you, music. Yeah. We're gonna do it the same way, but we're gonna do it where, do you even know we're making fun of you?
Right. Oh man, and that video has such a legacy. Like, I don't know, how do you look at these, like, all these years removed? Are they like, do you follow them, like, I don't know, views and stuff like this? Because I would imagine this has 1 million views. If you look at like all-time music videos, I'm sure this is up there. Like, do you keep tabs on this stuff?
I don't, until I don't keep tabs on it, but I'll get somebody send me a post on Instagram that'll say, "Oh, Chop Suey just hit 1 billion views," and
Jesus.
I'm like, "Wow, 1 billion views, right?" And those, so I get people who send me those, but I don't really keep tabs. I love them all like children because you know I made them. They're my way of, it's my art in some ways. I'm not a songwriter. My band was like I really loved being in my band. I wrote songs, but this was the thing I can look back at and go, oh, I made that thing. And the fact that they're still relevant. My son is in 8th grade, and when Blink played at City Field here in New York, we went, got to take him, to backstage, and he goes to school with the Blink shirt on. I start noticing all his friends have Blink shirts on, and they on their little devices watch those videos. And it's 25 years later.
It's wild.
Yeah, YouTube really helped the legacy of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, look at bands like you're talking about. You're a Quicksand fan, right? I mean, the videos that I did for Quicksand were not big videos. Those are small, but the band is still touring. They're still out there. They
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
It's incredible how these bands have held on.
All right, let's pivot to Papa Roach's Last Resort, if you don't mind. Got a couple questions about that one. So they obviously at the time of writing the treatment, making the video, they're not very well known. But this, in similar fashion to the Blink video, blew up on TRL, was seen everywhere. What were your initial thoughts with the treatment? Because going from like the performance stage, then into a fan, and then into their like living experience, and then back to the performance, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's the one that gets all the attention in some ways, but if you were to look at my videography, is that what it's called? It's not a discography, a videography. About a year before that, I did a video for a band that I loved called POD, and the video is called Southtown.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So if you look at that video, it was like a trial run for the Last Resort video. And the way that came about was Atlantic Records, I think they were on Atlantic, invited me to go check out one of their shows in somewhere in Southern California, wherever they were from. And I left that show like, oh, this is like the bands I grew up with. These shows like stage diving. And, one of the things I used to love, like playing at CB's or going to CB's, is you would be up on stage around the amps, behind the drummer. It was this little sort of cocoon of people, and the intensity just being so up close. And I felt that at the POD show, and I wrote that treatment like they're just playing for their friends out in front of their home. Then when Papa Roach came along, Francis Pennington, who was a video commissioner, said, I want you to come to the Troubadour to check out this band. They've never played outside of Vacaville, California.
Wow.
But so they signed this deal with DreamWorks. She goes, but in Vacaville, they are like they pack shows, and they played at the Troubadour. And Vacaville is, I don't know, a couple of hours north. And they drove down, fans came down, and I go to this Troubadour show, kind of position myself. Like I've always liked being in the middle of it. So I'm like standing down in the pit. And it was probably, and I've been to a lot of hardcore shows in New York, CB's, like everything from Cro-Mags, Bad Brains, Sick of It All. And it was probably the most intense show I'd ever been in.
I love this.
They blew me away. So when I went home that night, it's like shit, with I had the track and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, what is the treatment that's going to make me feel that? And then I thought, they have these diehard fans, these kids that drove down from Vacaville. Like, what if we just got those kids, did a stylized in the, if you remember at the time, if you kind of looked at what videos were out, like they were doing, hip hop videos that were very glossy and fisheye lenses. And I was like, I'm going to take that aesthetic, but I'm going to bring to it the feeling and emotion of like being at a hardcore show. And then you have the subject matter of suicide, right? Which is heavy. So it was, I'm going to pick kids out of their out of the crowd, and I'm just going to go to their bedrooms. And we didn't art direct any of that. Like those are their real bedrooms.
Shit, that's
and,
cool.
And
Very
we
cool.
just when we did and we shot the video in Vacaville in their hometown in like a a place that does like flea market stuff, like just a big hall. And we put that stage in because I wanted that hip hop sort of aesthetic.
Lit up stage.
It's very low money,
yes.
more problems. I agree. Yeah.
Exactly right. But I don't think a rock band had kind of done that. So in some ways it broke a little ground, but it was a lot like my POD video. Just my POD video was just kind of very grainy and organic and, street. This was the polished version of that. And that's kind of how that came about. I knew the night I walked out of the Troubadour, having seen them live, I'm like, this band is going to break because they are heavy, but there's a hook. They know how to write hooks. There was like, I had songs in my head, that they played for days afterwards. And I'm still tight with those guys. I just one of the best experiences. And another video that just kind of you do have to maintain a certain, you do one hit video. You can't really be a one hit wonder as a music video director. You can always say, oh, I made that one video. But I think it became sort of at this point, like, you watch My Age Again, and then All the Small Things, and then Last Resort, and then Chop Suey. And I don't think anyone knew how big these bands would become, but the videos just kind of grow with them.
They're all still doing it too, right? They're all, I mean, Papa Roach is probably as big as they've ever been. The appetite for System of a Down is probably as big as it's ever been. And Blink is probably as big as they've ever been. So,
I know.
and because he's lived on.
Trust me, I've been to all the shows. I take my kid. He's into them. All his friends are into them. I mean, I'm Brazilian, and my cousin went to a System show in Brazil, and I was online looking at some of the footage. Have you seen this footage of?
I haven't. No.
Outside of America, the crowds are nuts. They're huge.
You need to YouTube Toxicity in Rio 2025. It's some of the most incredible footage of any band I've ever seen ever. Really mind blowing. They're selling out, 80,000 seat stadiums.
Wild. That's great.
Yeah.
That's funny. We the episode hasn't even come out yet, but we recorded an episode just digging back into Infest, Papa Roach Infest album. And one of the things we said, Tony, was they were a punk band living in like a metal, new metal or rap rock band's body. We saw them in the early 2000s, and it was just on another planet. So to have you say that, who came from your background, to see them, it's like, yeah, they were on a different planet.
What is this song? Dead Cell on the.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is a straight up hardcore song, that the Cro-Mags could have played, and it's just full of angst, and it's heavy as fuck, and that's what I get off on. I love it. I mean, I actually wanted to do a video for that, but the label wasn't doing one for that song.
That one might have had a harder time on TRL, and that's probably why. That's where the marketing stuff gets into play, right? Like, we love that song. I mean, I think I opened the episode with that song.
Although Broken Home, I showed some pretty graphic stuff in that video, and I did it when the label pushed back because I wanted to show like an abuse. Jacoby wrote that song about family, his experiences at home, and I had come from a broken home, and so it felt very personal. We started talking about it, and I was like, well, we should show in the video, this guy beating his mom. And the label is like, absolutely not. You're not. There's no way, because there was a second single, and they had come off the success of Last Resort. The label wanted to capitalize on it. I don't know all the politics involved. I just know what was said to me. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do it. But instead of filming it, I'm going to shoot it as stills and edit the stills together to tell the story. And I think that just took enough of the curse off of it that they agreed. And then of all my music videos, that video was nominated for a Grammy. It's one of the ones I'm most proud of.
Wow. That's amazing.
You were still able to do the idea, just had to do it a different way. And that's got to be, I mean, sometimes I would imagine you get Like, yeah, your treatment's good, but we can't do this, this, and this, and you just gotta find a workaround to make your vision happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like anything. Yeah, if you want the opportunity, sometimes you just have to. I don't think you have to compromise on your integrity, but you just have to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this across and do it differently?
Yeah, with the Last Resort video.
It's sell out a number of times. Don't get me wrong. I've made some.
Okay, you gotta.
Good for you. Good.
I've made some videos for the money. So.
Well, with Last Resort, it's funny you mentioned like the hip hop videos because I kind of got that vibe too with like the aerial angles and the fisheye. And honestly, I can't think of a better frontman than Jacoby to like bring that whole thing. And like for a lot of people, that was our introduction to this band called Papa Roach. And it's this heavy theme, but the music video is like wild. I mean, what a time. But that must, I mean, how many takes did you, how many times did they have to play that song for the video?
I'm a lot. I mean, those
Yeah.
things were, oh geez, I don't know. We'd shoot them all day. And I've always been a pretty deliberate filmmaker, and even in my music video days. And what I mean by that is I always had an idea of how the video would play. So again, if you look at it, it has a construction. I show the band, I do the thing, but then I have to go into a bedroom and come out of a bedroom. So I do like little thumbnail sketches of how I want it to play out. And then you just do as many takes as you need to make that happen, right? But there is a monotony to it. I found, and I learned this earlier in my career before doing that video, that if I have to have anything in the video where it needs to feel like intense and energetic, do it early. Do it, do the
Good call.
first half of the day, because by the time you get to the second half of the day, everyone just lose. Then I want to be in close ups, tight on a guitar player or whatever it is, so that everyone's not having to go ape shit for 4 minutes for the 200th time or whatever it is.
Yeah, I would imagine that can get a little trying. I was just trying to put myself in their shoes. Like I worked probably 12 hours on Saturday, and I'm like, by 7 o'clock, would I have wanted to be running around? No, not at all. So I get that.
No chance.
Yeah. And honestly, musicians hate music videos. It's not what they do, right? They're suddenly being asked to perform for, publicity. They're not playing for real. They're not, doing anything for real. So it's foreign to them. The one time I had to scold a musician was System of a Down, where Darren, and by the way, these are guys who I respect tremendously. They do something, they're artists, and I think those guys are incredible. So rightly so, Darren's like, I don't want to fucking stand up here and fake it and do this and do that. And like, this is, it's a waste of time for them. Until I turn around and say, I said to him, Darren, what you got to understand is you wrote this song. I think this song is incredible. Sure, you love this song. And remember, this is early, right? It's before the record comes out. I'm like, it's going to come out. This is a single. You're going to put this out as your single. What we do today will forever be tied to that thing you created, right?
Great point. Amazing perspective.
And so don't phone it in, because you're going to look back and go, fuck, I wrote this song that means something to me or that I love, and, the video is shit. So I would remind bands, I'm like, I know this sucks. I know you got to come in and, perform, fake it, but this will forever be tied to, and look at it today. You said it, right? 25 years on. And I think people can kind of close their eyes. If you hear the song, and they can imagine what the video is.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's why I'm like, there you go. It's proof right there. Forever, that video will be tied to that song.
And that video is amazing. It's similar with the performance aspect to the Papa Roach one, but on a kind of a bigger scale with, the bigger stage, and you're at the inn there, and you're a little more focused on transitioning some video elements with the band members on stage versus just kind of having them run around. So was there a lot more that went into that?
No, that in some ways was easier, because it really was just a performance video. The cutaways to literally, like the Chinese food in the room, or Darren in that, So we were at an hourly rate motel in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and we had to own it, right? So we got all the rooms, and just at one point, I'm like, let's go into a room, close the door, shove as many kids as we can in there, and just have them fucking rage. And I'm like, oh, and get a box of Chinese food, just because it was called chop suey, zero connection to anything, and we just filmed for half an hour in a room. That was me thinking, oh, it might be cool to cut away to this stuff. That wasn't part of my big picture plan. So, but then you get to the cutting room and it's like, oh, this is fun. I dig this. And then that's what it becomes.
It's so funny. I always wondered because you can tell it's a motel. And then I looked it up in prep for this. It's like the Oak Tree Inn Motel. So it was operational and you guys booked the whole damn thing. For how long?
But it was an hourly rate hotel. It was like a,
Oh, yeah.
Like when you walk into a room, no joke, and you turn a TV on, porn.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
It came with the room.
Wow.
So how many hours did you guys book the place for?
We booked it for a day.
Nice.
We just took it over for the day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got crabs at that hotel.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Well, this is it. It's again in approach. It reminded me of the Last Resort video, and then I love that you said the Southtown for POD. You're kind of adding on in kind of creating this landscape, but similar to Papa Roach, this was their big break. Like Self-Titled System record, they were well known. I think they were on Ozfest, but when Toxicity dropped and this video dropped, it made a statement. Like it was a bizarre song to begin with, and the whole Rick Rubin, kind of mysterious thing and all this. But you add in this video, it was a whole stratosphere. And I love that. I don't know whose idea it was to put the band's name on the stage so the aerial view would look down.
Yeah, I mean, those were all my ideas. It's so funny because I look back, and yes, you can close your eyes and see the video. Another video that one of the band members hated when I first finished it, because Los Angeles has a big Armenian community, and they had a like public access cable show, Armenian like public access show, and they would often do. I never saw it, but listening to the band was telling me about it. If they had to do visual effects, they were always super cheesy and bad. And this was, at a time when these things weren't perfected yet on the cheap. So when I did that, I wanted to do that shot where the band members became.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When it slows down there. Yeah.
And I didn't we didn't have a big budget for that. It wasn't a huge budget. It was pretty straight, like rock video. But I had these ideas, and I said, oh, I'm going to put you guys on this like truss, and then camera's going to go around it, and as it comes around, I'm going to dissolve into the next character, and then the next character, and they're like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, I'm going to morph it. It's like and Michael Jackson had done a video where he morphed. I'm like, we're not quite spending that money, but that's what we're going to do. And then when I showed it to the band, Darren was like, this is like bad Armenian VFX. And I'm like, you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not bad Armenian VFX. It's just raw System of a Down. It's what your fans want. Like, what do you want it to be? But so I had to fight a lot of those things, but putting the band's name on the stage and making everybody wear black were just ways that I thought, again, how can the video be noisy? Because I could have just had kids show up, right? But it was like, I think it's more graphic this way. And I think that's just a part of ultimately what a director does, right? You just kind of taking this thing and making it a usable whole. It's a lot of little pieces that you have to figure out.
Well, we were talking about it last night, and I said that video pops off the screen. There's just so many bits and pieces that are right at you, which I think it reflects the song. So to put the two together and have them, work the way they do. And like we said, billion streams, people are watching it still.
I'm curious. You say it reflects the song, right?
Yep.
How?
I think just the energy of it, right? The song is super energetic. I feel like I'm getting the energy from both the color and the filter of the video coming off the screen. Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
And if you've got them all in the same color, that monochromatic thing kind of works versus if you've got a bunch of different color t-shirts, it may not work as well. Seeing them put the performance in that they do, like all of it kind of
Overhead
popped
view.
together. The overhead view is cool. Yeah, all that stuff.
I asked because I've always been curious because I've always felt like it worked with the song, but I've had people say it has nothing to do with the song, and then I'm like, well, what is the song about? Like, I mean, I then read, I don't know if it was in Rick Rubin's book where he talks about when they wrote that song. Do you know the story of the lyrics of that song?
I feel like I've heard it, but I would need a refresher for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely in Rick's book. Serge was like, I don't have lyrics for this. And they were in Rick's house and he was like, go to my bookshelf and pull out a book. And what's the first thing you read?
Oh, that's right.
And he pulls out a book and I think it's the verse. Father, have you, I forget what it is.
Father into my hands, something like, yeah.
Exactly. But when you think about that, right, how that happened and what the song is now, it kind of doesn't matter how that happened. It just fucking works. And you feel this thing, you feel this angst, you feel this. And it wasn't like he sat down and wrote something that was coming from a place. And I think that's a testament to the way they construct their songs. They're just so powerful. And when I would get a treatment, the first thing you do is you listen to is what is the song about? Like, am I going in that direction? And there are very few of my music videos. There are some, but there are very few that follow that path where I'm like, what is the song about? It's always for me, it was what is the feeling I get?
Well, he definitely did that. And I think it's a great song. It stands on its own. But if the video stunk, who knows what the legacy would be? I mean, truly, but it is one of those songs that I'll go to concerts now and between bands, the house music plays. I mean, people are singing that song louder than they will for the actual band they're going to see.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. That and Break Stuff, Limp Bizkit, like people sing along to those over the house music.
And occasionally Whitney Houston, which is random.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think it's the energy. And if that's what you were going for, to capture the essence of the song from an energy and feeling, yeah, you did that. And I don't know. And once the more I was digging into this, the more I'm like, this is amazing, and hearing you talk, it was an operational motel and then you guys take it over. Was there in the budget to do another day rate if it came down to it?
No.
So you're under a time crunch too.
Yeah. I didn't do, I came out of a time when music videos were at their peak, I think, TRL, but I didn't do big budget videos. My videos kind of capped out in, it's going to sound like a big budget, but at the time it's not. Like 150, 175 grand were the biggest. But they were making videos for $500,000, $1 million.
Yeah. I didn't like Nas and Diddy made videos for like $1 million.
They were dropping lots of money. But, I also was pretty picky. I did videos for bands I like with the occasional, I'm not going to disparage anyone, but there was like a DreamWorks artist named Amanda, who's just straight up pop. And, you take the job. You go and you want to keep working. I've always believed work begets work. And if I'm not working, I'm like, I'll take that job. I'll go make something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's the biggest suck into the budget? Is it location changes? Is it set, or is it all of the above?
Oh man, I think it's just a combination of
all of it. Yeah.
It requires a lot of people, the equipment, locations. Yeah.
You mentioned the kind of puzzle of taking all the little pieces and putting it together. Did you like having that constraint? Did it make it kind of a challenge for you, or were you like, I wish I had more money every time?
You always wish you had more money and more time, but that was my film school, right? So I got to learn how to edit, how to shoot. And then, certain videos like Broken Home is a good example. It's more story. And it's like, how am I going to tell the story? And like I said, I did it with stills, but I could have done it with moving picture. But you're learning. You're just learning kind of how to use the medium.
These have been great. It's funny, when we were getting prepped to chat with you, we're just going through the list. Like, we'd love to chat about that one. I mean, we love Paramore and Quicksand and every other band, but we're going to hit you with maybe a deeper cut. Trust Company Downfall. You remember doing that one?
Yeah, man. I love that video.
So good. What do you love about it, Tony? What do you love about it?
No, I want to hear what Marcos loves about it.
Well, I'll tell you, you talk about feeling something. When I got that was Geffen, I think Geffen Records, and I got that track. I'm like, oh, these kids are good, and I say kids because at the time they were like 10 years younger than me, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we did this thing with wind blowing and distorting faces, and then when you get into that chorus of just fucking shake the camera, you know. But it's literally those kinds of things, and then I would go out before I'd shoot the video and test it. I'd be like, what if I shook the camera? How is it going to look? It's like an earthquake. But those are pretty straightforward videos. That was not a lot. They were not a big band, so that wasn't a lot of money. The other one that was like that was very little money, that was a big hit, was Hoobastank, Crawling in the Dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right around the same time frame too.
Yeah. But it was, again, all those just came out of like feeling, just like, what can I do visually to try to nail this thing? And then there's the cliches. I mean, I look back at some of these, I'm like, oh, I could have thought of something better than that. But it's like they're in a warehouse. You could write a book on the amount of videos that were shot in warehouses.
Right. Yeah.
So
right?
true. Yeah.
Well, I like the part of that video that I noticed in rewatching it recently is you put water on the floor to kind of make the lights pop on both sides, it just makes the video come off the screen more for me. And obviously, I would imagine that's on purpose.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's called a wet down. We do it on almost everything I shoot all the time.
I was gonna say, and then I was watching the Blink video, and I'm like, oh yeah, the floor's wet there too. That makes sense. So did you use an industrial leaf blower to make their faces do that, or was it like a massive fan? What'd you use?
It was no, it was like an industrial leaf blower. It was something that I don't remember what it was, but I know it had a tube on it, so might have been that. And we would just get just as close as we could so the camera wouldn't see it. Yeah, no, that was it. I mean,
That's so funny.
Pretty simple. But look, I think that's an example of where the other way. There are some videos that are just average, and a good song elevates the video as well. I mean, they weren't huge, but I always thought that song was a banger. It's a great song.
That whole record's awesome. We love that record.
Total. Actually, Kevin Palmer's supposed to be coming on with us here in a couple weeks.
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
And we'll get his perspective on the video.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I think they enjoyed that. Did they ever make more? I don't even know. I don't know.
I don't know if they made another video or not. I'd have to look. They did for the second album. I'm not sure if they made another one for the first album. Stronger had a video, I think. But
I love that album, and they were a great band.
Yeah, lighting's perfect, and the wind is very like believable. Like the people's reaction was very. They obviously knew it was coming, but the reaction was very accurate,
genuine,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable to have
Oh shit.
150 mile an hour wind blowing in your face.
Not a lot of direction needed there. Just, hey, stand there and you're gonna look uncomfortable.
Pretty much.
But the camera shaking, it's that. I mean, I when we watched this back in prep for this, the standouts were just the lighting and the contrast from the floor to ceiling, the wind, and then the shaking. It is perfect. It's not like over the top, it's not overdone, but it gets the point across because I think it's when Kevin's saying like, am I breaking down? I think that's when it comes in. It's perfect. I love that video. And like out of all the videos we could have chosen for this, we chose that one. Like it's a banger.
It's a good one. All right, I got one more, and I just got to know, how did you come up with the nose for name of the game, Crystal Method?
Just another, being noisy with nosy. Let's see. I don't think there was just like Crystal. My brain works like this. It's very simple. I'm a simple dude. It's like crystal method, crystal meth. You snort crystal meth, a nose. A teenager with a big nose. Not a teenager. I mean, what if his whole head is a nose?
Yes.
Whole head.
What if his whole body's a nose?
Exactly. Well, I thought about that, but I was like, then it's hard to skateboard if your whole body is a nose. And so we made that nose mask. And yeah, I mean, and then I thought, I'm going to make it it's a teen coming of age story in a very loose way, and it's a love story. So he has to fall in love, and who would fall in love with a guy with a big, like, whose head is just a nose? And did you catch this in the video? Do you know what I'm talking about? The answer is no, clearly, because you would know instantly.
No, I guess I did not. No.
All right. Well, he goes on a picnic date. Now, think about how ridiculous this is, right? Nosy goes on a picnic date with a young lady, and she's caressing his face, and they're clearly about to make out, and he ruins it by pulling out some condoms.
Yeah. Yep.
Basically saying, we're going to get busy. And she smacks him in the face, and then the scene ends. What's in there subtly, which I love, and this is very me, is if you look back at the video when she's caressing his face, she has a giant finger. Prosthetic.
How did I miss that last night?
And I was like, that's who he would fall in love with.
Yeah.
You're a giant nose. Your perfect lady has a giant finger. I mean, you're getting so a little glimpse into the ridiculousness of my, of how these things came to be. But I always thought they were funny. Did you ever see which video was that? That was
Name of the Game. Yeah.
See Murder, the video, the other Crystal Method video I did.
Didn't watch it. I wanted to, and then we get doing these ones, and yeah.
Well, you should check it out because it's a sequel.
That's where the sequel came from. Okay. We were wondering if the sequel happened. I was going to ask if you wanted to break news, but so there was a sequel.
There was a sequel, and Nosy is in that video in the background, but here's what I did in that video. Rivers is in that video. The sumos from his video are in that video. I basically, in that video, it's a guy who falls in love with a blow-up doll, a sex doll, and he takes the sex doll home, and he makes it dinner, and he comes out of the kitchen to serve dinner to the sex doll, and the sex doll is gone. She's run away, and it's a chase through downtown Manhattan, and he takes him to like an after-hours club, and inside the after-hours club, the entire club, if you remember like the Star Wars cantina, like when they would go into like all the weird characters, I said, I'm going to put all the characters from all my videos in the club.
That's amazing.
I gotta watch this.
So they're just background. Like Rivers is background. The sumos, the just various characters from my videos up to that point are in that video.
That's amazing. All right, that's homework. As soon as we get done talking to you today.
Hey, those would be some fun clips to pull.
So that nose, was that a mask? Was it what happened? Like, how did they pull that up?
Yeah, it's just a mask. And one kid that I got a kid who could skateboard and BMX, and just like we hired a kid to do that stuff, but it was just a prosthetic. For years I had it in a bin somewhere, and I would bust it out like Halloween or whatever, but
that's a casting call. Must be able to skateboard, BMX, and wear nose head.
Yeah.
He could see through the nostrils.
There you go. All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, how did he pull all the tricks off, the breakdancing, the biking and stuff? Because if you can't see, you're just like hoping no one's around you.
Yeah, no, he was. It was all worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Marcos, we counted through all the videos you've done, and I think we've had 10 to 12 of the bands on the podcast. So like you fit in so well with this podcast. Like we're music nerds, and this is like the nerdery to the next level. I love this.
That's awesome. Well, I'm a big fan of the genre of like, it's rock music, hardcore, post-punk, like all through the 90s, grunge. It's just kind of what I enjoy. We probably have the same, very similar musical tastes in that way, because I'm looking at what's on your wall, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know all of it. So my biggest regret is I got rid of my 7-inch collection in like 2003.
Did you have a copy of Chung King Can Suck It? Did you have one of those?
I did. I've been to King.
There you go. That's the grail. That's the holy grail.
Yeah. I mean, I had everything. I had first edition everything's from 1986. I had so many, and it just went through a time in my life where it wasn't really important to me. And then you're like, meet somebody and they're like, oh, I fucking love it. I'm like, oh, I have that. I'll give it to you. And just started giving shit away.
Yeah.
Not knowing it was like collecting baseball cards. And now, my first pressings of all these bands that are still playing today. Probably, could have passed them down to my kid.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like it's hard to know what's going to pop, so you don't want to get rid of anything because especially if you've got something that's first edition or from a time where it ends up becoming this lionized, New York in the early 90s, like everybody wanted to be a part of that. So you just don't want to throw anything away. I keep too much shit because I'm afraid that it's going to be worth something someday.
Yeah, I now have too much shit in storage, but for sure. Where are you guys? East Coast, West Coast?
Maine.
East Coast, Southern Maine.
Oh, you're in Maine.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's starting to get chilly. I get the heat on in the basement here.
It's cold. It got cold the last couple of days.
So Marcos, I know you're into the, producing, executive producing, directing, on a larger scale. Are your music direction days behind you? And do you think there's even a place for music videos in this day and age?
All right, couple of questions there, right?
Yeah.
No, they're not behind me. As a matter of fact, Dexter Resurrection would not be happening if I had not done a music video 2 summers ago. I was doing a music video for Michael C. Hall's band. And but it was, you can see it on YouTube, but it was me, a camera, Michael, and his 2 bandmates. That's it. No crew, no nothing. But that's because I love what I do. And I wanted to, like Michael's like, I want to do a video for this song. We went out and shot it in Times Square while we were eating pizza after we shot this total run and gun. Like we stole every shot. We didn't pay for a single location. There was no budget. It was just us. We're eating pizza and he turned to me and he was like, I miss it. And I was like, what do you miss? He was like, I miss it. And I was like, don't fucking tell me that, because when we were shooting New Blood, I was like, we should shoot an alternate ending. And he was like, absolutely not. This is it. We're done. And here you are 2 years later saying, I miss it. Anyway, I was like, if you're serious, I'm going to make one phone call and I guarantee you they're going to jump all over it. And I called Clyde Phillips, who's the showrunner, and he called Showtime. And 2 years later to the date, we were wrapping the season of Resurrection. But
insane.
It came out of me being like, I would love to do a music video. I think the last video I did before that was Paramore. Just nobody asked me.
Wow. Yeah. That was 08, probably 07.
Yeah. So I'm just not in that world at the moment. But I think if the right thing came along, for sure, it's just about time and also having an idea, that the band is willing to do. As far as the second part of that question, yeah, I think more than ever, there's a place for it.
Right on. I love that.
I think that, kids on their devices and the hardest thing is just finding it, right? It used to be that it was only one place to go, and it was MTV, and then you had TRL, and you had your specialty shows on MTV, like 120 minutes or, the hip hop shows. I think I just read, by the way, that MTV's gone. I didn't know.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah.
Insane. That's too bad.
44 years, right? 44 years.
Yeah, man. That was, I had no idea. I knew that it had become sort of irrelevant in some ways, but I had no idea it was like that. And it surprises me because I thought maybe even as a platform online, like just make it what it's supposed to be. Just make it music videos. I think kids would watch because kids are still going through what we went through, right? Like, wouldn't you, if you want to put on some noise in the background, and if you had a place, a streamer that you could just put on and it's just like music videos? I don't know. I used to do that,
All the time. Yeah. It was me every day when I was 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah. And I know we didn't have cell phones to stare at and all that, but now they could be destinations on your phone. So I do think, and I think there's some people making some really cool music videos, just because you also have AI, you have visual effects. So if I were an up and coming filmmaker, I would be making music videos every day, using my iPhone and my laptop. So in some ways, I think these kids kind of have it. They have everything at their fingertips. It's just kind of ignoring I think too many people who make these things want to be content creators and feel like there's some sort of success coming their way or they're owed something. If you just make shit because you love making it, there's always a place for it to get discovered.
That's a great point, and I love that as the mic drop, because that's why we do this. Like, we're not worried about. I want more people to see it and hear it, but I'm happy we did this. This conversation was why I want to do this stuff. So
yeah, 100%. No.
Well, I'm happy anytime, guys, because I love doing this, and you guys seem amazing, and I love maybe one day we can meet in person if you ever head down to New York. Grab a drink.
absolutely.
Or if you come up to Maine,
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.